Hey everybody, welcome live to the Jim Masters Show Live Entertainment Lifestyle Celebrity Talk Show Series. That's a mouthful. Just say the Jim Masters Show. We know exactly what you're talking about. I'm your host, Jim Masters. We're here in Lovety Hall in the host chair to greet all of you again. It's been about 24 hours since we saw each other last. So good to have you here. Thanks for joining us. I know we have our viewers, our Lovety viewers who watch from literally all around the world. We thank you for the comments. We thank you for the love, all the comments on social media, sharing the links to all of our episodes, almost 1,000 episodes we've done with guests coming in from Broadway, Hollywood, television, film, music, stage, sports, comedy, culinary arts, inspiration, and all of life with our warmth and conversational style that we do, sort of sprinkling in the old school talk show style with a modern twist and modern vibe. Gang, if you'd like to comment while the show is on, we afford you that opportunity when you subscribe to the YouTube channel, because it does take a village, and it costs you nothing to subscribe to the YouTube channel. You just hit that red button that says subscribe and you're in. You're part of the JMS Lovety family. When you subscribe, you guys can actually comment in the JMS Lovety Hall chat room. Yeah. The chat room is part of, when we're on live on YouTube. So you can chat, say hello to one another. A lot of you are already doing that already, and our comments build up throughout the show. And we might even sprinkle a comment or two of yours right here on the bottom of the screen as well. That's kind of cool. We welcome everybody watching all across the United States, Canada, Mexico, our viewing audience that watches from South America, Brazil, and Peru, Argentina, and all around South America. We hear from you, and we love you guys being here as well. We also welcome our viewers who watch throughout Europe as well. We love having you here in Africa and Asia, Australia, New Zealand. It's amazing. Still, I think, waiting for one or two from Antarctica. So if you have an Aunt Thelma in Antarctica, ring her up and tell her Jim's on right now. You guys are great. Thanks again for all the enthusiasm. We've done hundreds of shows. You can binge watch all of them and just have a good time. Busy day for me. I was on the radio all day. We did about 4 radio shows. Then we had a TV shoot, getting ready for a big Canada trip. We got a couple of TV projects happening in Canada in April, late March, early April. So we're preparing for all of that as well. And of course, we're here with you every single day live. Let me tell you, as you guys are commenting, and again, feel free to subscribe to the channel, and you can comment in the Lovety Hall chat session that's there in the Lovety Hall chat room. We have some fantastic guests joining us. One from Chicago, one from New York City. We'll make you guess who's coming from Chicago and who's coming from New York. We're going to put you to work. Lauren Taslitz and Danny Ursetti are here, and they are extraordinary at what they do. Matter of fact, they're friends. Isn't that kind of nice? They've known each other for a long time. They work together, and they're very excited about a new musical comedy show as well as album that is coming out, which we're excited about. Now, Lauren and Danny are an intergenerational writing duo who have been writing songs and musicals together since they met at NYU Tisch's graduate musical writing back in 2016. They write songs that are outrageous, wise, and honest, always interesting and often thrilling. That, according to our friends at Broadway World, who we love as well. Musical theater writing credits include the one we're going to be talking about on this episode, Regretting Almost Everything. Now, you probably saw that in our promos and our tagline, that they're regretting almost everything. They're not regretting being on the Jim Masters Show, just so you know. We want to clear that up. But they are regretting other things, and you'll find out what we're talking about here. And a lot of other works, too. A Statue of Stature and lots more. Mimosa. And it's really amazing, when you have friends who work together in such a beautiful way. And this particular project that they've worked on lovingly, Regretting Almost Everything, features Tony Award winner Beth Level as Anne and Tony nominee Jeff Blumenkrantz as her husband Clay. Now, this is a really fantastic musical comedy, the story of a middle-aged woman in search of a new beginning, loosely based on Lauren's experience of leaving home in her mid-50s to pursue her love of musical theater. And Lauren wrote the book and lyrics, and Danny, who composed, orchestrated, and arranged the music. The two artists have produced an album of the full score, which is actually set to release in just a matter of a few weeks, March 14th. And Beth has said she finds such joy and passion in Lauren and Danny's beautiful work, and to give voice to Anne, the sexy, wild, middle-aged mother, to watch her grow and love and grieve, and to sing Danny's melodies and personalize Lauren's lyrics. It's why she became an actor. She's fallen in love with Anne. The album itself consists of 15 songs, plus a bonus track as well. We're going to talk about how it all came together. It's really an extraordinary story. And there it is there, regretting almost everything. And we're going to be talking about it. And here is some of the gang actually together. Yeah, which is really nice. We do have some behind the scenes photos to show you as well, and telling you the tale. You're going to want to get the music. You want to go to make sure you get some tickets to go to the show, or everything. It's going to be well worth your investment, because you're going to laugh, you're going to feel, you're going to just revel in it all. And we've got some cool photos of behind the scenes as some of the work was actually being put together, which is really nice when we get a chance to see things, as they're happening behind the scenes, because it does take a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and hours, and a lot of joy, and all of it to put great things together, like what's coming up with Regretting Almost Everything. So with that said, we're very excited to welcome them to the Jim Masters Show Live series for the very first time. Both Lauren and Danny are here. Actually, Lauren is in Chicago and Danny is in New York City. Let's welcome them to the show, and we're going to have a good time. So if you want to comment during the show in the Levity Hall chat room, feel free to do that. You're welcome to do that right now. Lauren and Danny, welcome to the show. It's an honor and pleasure to have you here today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
You know what I loved is watching Danny rocking out to the theme song to the Jim Masters show.
That's great. I love it.
Took a long time to pick that out and license that and put it together with the visual open and everything. How you guys doing? Congratulations on this. You've been working together for, a number of years on different projects, and now this has come together. Congratulations on it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
How did it all, what was the inspiration originally? Your life story a little bit, Lauren?
Oh, well, my life story? Well, my life story's long. I don't think we have time for it.
This is part one of a week-long mini-series here on ABC.
There's like the whole regular part, like where you go to school, you go to law school, you get married, you have kids, somewhere along the line, you stop being a lawyer and you start writing. And then like around, it's been a while, but maybe 12 years ago, I got serious about writing musicals. And not long after that, I thought if I wanted to do it more intensely and more seriously, I had no choice except to go get my master's at NYU in New York. So that's what I did. I left my husband and my grown children and my 90-year-old mother and my friends and my dog and my car and all of that. And I went to New York and started hanging out with Danny and people younger with him full time.
Well, I always say it's always good to have a master's. But I'm bumped.
As you would know.
I would know. I was born with my master's. So that's a great chain of events. And then so you meet Danny and you work on projects, and how did that sort of friendship and partnership form for the two of you? Because you play off each other so beautifully. It's so automatic, which doesn't always happen.
I mean, I don't know what Lauren would say. I remember she invited me to dinner and to see a show that she had bought tickets to called Futurity, which we both totally loved. And I remember she was like, so why did you come to grad school? And I was like, I don't know. I was unhappy. I was doing film scoring in LA and I just wasn't having good collaborations. So I wanted to go to theater, which is something I was raised on. And I was terrified. And I remember her being like, that's so nice to hear you be so honest, because so many people in our class were like so excited, but I was like, I'm really scared because I lived my whole life in Southern California and I moved to New York City, which was culture shock, and I don't have a car and I'm just waiting for the train. And I think, and then we saw this show that just knocked us both out. And from there, I think we just kind of had like a common ground where we could start writing songs together.
When he said he was terrified, I thought, this is the smartest person I've met since I know. He knows to be terrified.
Let's talk also about, I mean, we could do whole shows with you individually too. And you're individually welcome to come back as well. And we can, celebrate your individual careers and all the accomplishments and everything that you've, sprayed in our direction as far as fabulous creativity. For you, Lauren, early on, what are some of the inspirations that pointed you in the direction of even doing this kind of work and wanting to be, in music and entertainment and the arts? Is that something you were surrounded by within your own family?
Not in a big way. My parents liked musicals and my parents liked to sing, but we were not a musical or artistic family. I used to sing through all the musicals when my father made me do the ironing. And, while I listened to his Victrola.
Did you whistle while you worked? I had to say that.
Yeah, no, but, I started writing because my kids' middle school's only fundraiser was a parent-written, directed, performed show. So that was, about over 20 years ago now. But I thought, it might be fun to do that. And for me, it was just sort of one thing leading to the other, never a plan, always just wanting to do the next thing or wanting to do more, wanting to do it more seriously. It wasn't like I thought I'm going to be an artist or I am an artist. It's taken me until like yesterday to be able to almost say
that. What were some of the very first projects that you tackled early on as you were developing it all?
Me personally or together?
Yeah. For you, yeah, individually first, yeah.
I know it sounds silly, but after I wrote for that middle school show, there's an organization in Evanston where Northwestern is called the Women's Club of Evanston, which is a 125-year-old social service organization. And they do an annual benefit show. And it could be really raunchy. And there could be, of the like 50 or 60 people in the cast, there could be 10 who are truly talented. And I started getting really involved in that, like being in charge of the writing and just kind of putting the whole thing together. And I loved it. And I had an audience and it was huge. It was a huge undertaking, putting together a show with 50 to 80 people that would see 2,000 person audience and raise maybe $100,000. It was a big deal. And then I thought maybe it was usually a series of like 30 to 33 minute sketches. And then I wondered if I should try to write something longer than 3.5 minutes. So, series of those. And so I asked a friend who I admired a lot if she had ever thought of writing something longer than 3.5 minutes. And so we wrote a musical called Join the Club, inspired by our experience at the Women's Club, which was, in a nutshell, about the importance of being part of a community of women. And then we invited like our 5 best friends over to my basement and we had them read it. And they said, this is great. This should play forever. And we said, okay. So we rented a theater, a train station that held 50 seats, that had 50 seats. And we found one of the 2 female musical theater directors in Chicago to direct, like, I swear to God, like 8 weeks before we were supposed to like have our production. And she said she would do it if we agreed to stay out of her way. And so we agreed. And we wound up having the show went up, and it was really great and really fun. And the theater only held 50 people, and we had 1,800 people coming to this other show all the time. So we knew we could sell out that theater. And, the result of it was I started taking a lot of class and realized this was what I really loved doing. And it sort of went from there. Like I said, I could talk all night, so I should be quiet.
No, it's terrific. I want people to know that you've been in residence at MacDowell, the Johnny Mercer Grove, at Goodspeed Musicals, the Catwalk Institute, Barrington Stage Company, the Fifth Avenue Theatre in Seattle, and Coastal Carolina University. Your work has been performed at Joe's Pub, Lincoln Center, Barrington Stage Company, NYTB, various other venues in New York City and Chicago. You do have that MFA from NYU Tisch, a JD from Harvard Law School, a BA from Princeton University, certificate of completion from the Second City Writing Program. You're a founding member of the Homebrewed Collective, a member of the Dramatist Guild, ASCAP, and the Women in Trans GNC Roundtable, and the Musical Theater Factory. And you do all that just on Tuesdays, huh?
Right. On Wednesdays, I babysit for my grandchildren.
You babysit for the That's it. That's the real life story.
Yeah.
And how about you, Danny? Tell us, the early beginnings for you and some of the inspirations for you that pointed you in the direction of being a brilliant composer, conductor, arranger, musician, all of it.
I mean, I guess I was raised in a musical loving household. My parents were doing community theater, so I was like, even from as a baby, I was there. Like, my mom loves to tell this story when she was in A Little Night Music, running down to the stage to be in the show, and I'm in the audience, and I go, "That's my mom!" Like, that was my stage debut, is disrupting the show for others. And then in middle school, you had the opportunity to do like a music route, or kind of do the kind of like exploratory, which is what it was called, like like the shop route. And my parents were like, "You're doing music." And the auditions came up, and the director, my middle school director, actually went to college with my parents and was like, "I think Danny would be a good percussionist." And my mom had this dream of me carrying like a piccolo, and I auditioned for drums and I got it. And now she schlepped me with my full drum kit through high school, rock band gigs, and playing musicals. And I started writing. And after high school, my dad was like, if you don't want to go to school, you have to pay rent. And I was like, all right, well then I'll go to college and I'll major in music. Because I was going to be a rock star, which is still the dream. Still the dream. We still hold that close.
Well, I heard you love rhythm, you love collaboration, and you love E.T.
E.T., I was terrified of E.T. as a child. I remember the VHS was green. I remember that vividly. I remember being scared. And then I remember in undergrad, when I started really more studying film scoring, I rewatched E.T. and just fell in love with it. John Williams, most composers can say how much he means to them. Star Wars, E.T., Harry Potter, Superman. We can go on all night about John Williams. But that score, that film has influenced my sound so much, and shows that I've written. And after I graduated, I got a few conducting gigs. I conducted some of David Rose's music, like The Stripper and Holiday for Strings, and had some opportunities. But I was finding that the collaborations I was having was not like a John Williams Spielberg situation. And I talked to my undergrad professor and kind of lamented to her. I was frustrated. She was like, "Well, maybe you should look at theater. You grew up on theater." So then I looked up the NYU program and was like, I'm going to move to New York and do musical theater, which sounds insane even when I say it now, but that's what I'm living and doing. And thankfully I met Lauren and countless other collaborators that we still work with. And I'm so happy to have found Lauren and even my partner, Laura, who we write songs and shows together, and I feel very lucky to be in this city and hustling and trying to write theater.
Absolutely. As you have, matter of fact, your songs and musical has been developed. The musicals have been developed and presented at Carnegie Hall and Lincoln Center, Goodspeed Musicals, Two River Theatre, Barrington Stage, Prospect Theatre Company, NYU Tisch, Coastal Carolina University, Forestburg Playhouse, and the 52nd Street Project. The arrangements and orchestrations have been performed by the New York Philharmonic, Pasadena Pops, Harvard University, Masters College, California State University, Northridge, Pipe Dreams Flutes, countless ensembles, high schools around the country. Film and television include William Finn's The Emperor's Newest Clothes, The Ranger, HBO, Hill's Ideal Balance Pet Food, Composer, and lots more. And The Activists, the orchestration of that. Drums and percussion credits include A Walk on the Moon, Through, themes for Falling Downstairs, the album, Soft Butter, original cast recording, Borrowed Cash, and also City Artists Corps grant recipient 2021, American Prize semifinalist, Chamber Music, Global Music Award winner, and current member of the BMI Lehman Engel Advanced Music Theater Workshop, Homebrewed Writers Collective, and a composer teaching artist with the 52nd Street Prospect MFA, NYU Tisch, GMTWP.
Sounds great when you just listed all out like that. Yeah.
But I tell you, yeah. So you guys have been doing this for a while, and you absolutely love it. And now this project, we all need music in our lives, and we all need comedy in our lives, especially considering the things that we've been going through. Let's talk about how this was created, put together, how you guys, sort of brought the team in. There's Beth and Jeff and all these other venerable, fantastic people that are part of the equation as well. Tell us about all that, the making of it all.
Danny.
I think you got heads and she got tails.
So at NYU, William Finn, Tony winner, who wrote Falsettos and 25th Annual Putnam County Spelling Bee, those musicals, among others, he teaches a lyric writing class, which I did not go to my first year until I met my partner, Laura, who was like, you got to come to this class. I think Bill would like your music. So I started going. And in our second year, Bill was basically like, Lauren, you write great lyrics. Danny, I like your music. Danny, you're going to set all of Lauren's lyrics. I was like, great, because she's great. So I'm happy to do that. And then he was like, at the end of our second year, said, you will do 2 nights in my cabaret at Barrington Stage. So that was very exciting. We were like, oh, we'll figure out what to do. And then eventually it was like, Lauren, this is what you will do. You will write a show of only what you know, which is of a long relationship. And you also have to include these songs that I just like, that you guys agree. Like, okay, that's complicated.
Yeah.
So what we did was essentially create a cabaret where Lauren kind of told the story of like leaving Chicago, leaving her family to be with all these like 20-somethings, writing this show. And then we also created these 2 characters named Anne and Clay. And the show was called, which Bill also named, William Finn also named, Regretting Almost Everything. So we kind of filled in some songs that we didn't have written. So we had this cabaret show with these 2 characters featuring basically Lauren's story. And then, so we did that in, I guess that was 2017 at Barrington Stage. And then we got to do it again in New York City at 54 Below, where we kind of rewrote some songs, fixed some things that were always bugging us. And then we were like, okay, now what? You have this cabaret show where basically Lauren has to be part of it. I have to be a part of it. And then at I think it was Rachel Shankin, who wrote the book to Putnam County Spelling Bee, was like, you guys really need to make this just a 2-person musical. It's hard to write 2-person musicals, and you have the skeleton of one if you can just kind of flesh it out. So she pushed us to do that, and we did that. And I think now we're at like 2019, we had this show, and then we were like, okay, now what? So we had this great idea. April 2020, we're going to record some demos and just get this show out there.
Dun, 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 dun.
Everyone has that story of all these plans we made. So then we
Yes,
kind of put it to
BC
the
used to
side.
be before Christ. Now it's before COVID.
Exactly. I mean, am I forgetting anything, Lauren? Do you have anything?
Nothing that would like change the story.
So that obviously didn't happen. We didn't get to record it, though. I will say I'm thankful we didn't get to record it because we were not ready. What you will hear when this album comes out on March 14th on all streaming platforms, you would have not gotten that if we had recorded in April 2020. Thankfully, Lauren still wanted to continue to create this album and was reaching out to different producers, and luckily reached out to Georgia Stitt, who created Maestra, which I think Lauren could speak more to Maestra, but she really helped us kind of figure out who to talk to create what we eventually created. I don't know if Lauren, if you want to speak more to that.
Well, once we decided to do the album, well, we didn't know how.
That's it.
So we needed to find somebody that knew how. And in Georgia, who, like Danny said, started one of the most amazing organizations ever. I think they just won an Obie, some sort of special award in the last day or two. But basically, Maestra is an organization for the women who make the music on Broadway. So it's mostly performers and composers. There are a few lyricists who don't make music like me in there, but honestly, it's been incredible. Anyway, when we needed an album producer, we spoke with Georgia, and she recommended someone she knew through Maestra, this woman, Kathy Summer. And we spoke with Kathy and her producing partner, this guy named Matt Anthony, who is one of the nicest, funniest people I've ever met in my entire life, let alone like a great producer and engineer. But anyway, we found Kathy and Matt, and they had endless saintly patience with us. And honestly,
because we just wanted to do this album, and they were like, okay, well, here's the million steps to get to, March 14th, 2023, where you actually have an album with Beth Level and Jeff. We were like, so what's the first step? They were like, well, you have the songs. Great. What do you want to record this live? Do you want to record this with an orchestra?
Oh my God. I mean, this is not like some little album. This is over an hour of music, 16 songs. Danny orchestrated for 8 instruments. Now, not every song is all 8 instruments, but it is, really, we had no idea. A gargantuan amount of work.
See some of it there on the screen, some of the behind the scenes, huh?
That's Kathy Summer in the middle there, and Paul, our amazing music director, Paul Staroba, who we're so thankful we also found through Kathy. She was like, the first thing you need to do is find a music director. Like, who's gonna play the piano? Who's gonna conduct the orchestra? We're like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. We need someone good to do that.
Yeah.
And they suggested, and we were really firm on being like, we want to capture a live performance. It's not a live recording per se, but the songs and the emotions of the songs kind of turn on a dime. Like, people can be really happy and then think of something that makes them upset, or so it felt like we can't just do this to tracks. We can't do this to a click or a metronome. We kind of need great musicians who can pick up really challenging music very quickly, because we have these great performers in Jeff and Beth. And we just really lucked out finding Kathy and Matt and Paul. Everyone involved is kind of the best of the best. And it's still surreal to say that we got to work with all of these people to create this album.
It's incredible, huh? How long was the process from the very first push of record to when everything was finished and finalized?
It
Do
took
you
a
rem-
year. I think it took it like almost a year to get to record,
Yeah. Yeah, a year to get everything together,
to
right?
even get to where we got into the studio.
Yeah,
And
we first met with Kathy over Zoom, like it must have been early 2021, and then we recorded in late September, early October, September 2022, and then obviously mixing and editing and took a lot of time, and overdubs. It's just it takes a village, and we're thankful that we found the people that we found to help us with this.
yeah,
Yes, on many different levels, and to bring in Beth, what was that like, huh?
oh my God, we only had we sent them all the materials well in advance, and we only had one day of rehearsal scheduled with Beth and Jeff. And honest to God, and we had never spoken with her on the phone, even like there'd been emails, and she was always responsive. We already knew Jeff because Jeff had been working with us on this project since 2017. So he was a friend, but Beth, we didn't really know. I swear to God, until she literally opened the door and walked into that first rehearsal, I would not have, I didn't really think she was going to come. If she had not walked in, I would not have been surprised. And then she walks in and she's, the most amazing person. I mean, the thing that was so amazing about Beth, even before I met her, was like when I hired a videographer, when we found Rebecca, she would say, "Oh, I was in the room with Beth level one. She doesn't know who I am, but she is the kindest person." Every single person that I spoke with who had ever been in a room with Beth didn't talk about her beauty or her talent. Not that she, because those are obvious, but they all talked about her kindness.
Yeah.
And she walked into the room and she's just all warmth and bubbles and kindness and energy. And she's really amazing.
Around here, we call that levity.
Yep.
She's full of levity, right?
That's levity.
Just amazing.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, surrounded by extraordinary people who signed in and signed up and showed up, who believe in the idea and the concept and the project, the show, the album, the whole thing. Right? It's very exciting when you have people that see your vision and want to help you share that, huh?
Yeah.
Well, the writers. Well, sorry, Lauren. Do you want to go?
No, all I was going to say was, to have these songs we wrote in school, right, where we're writing 3 songs a week, and most of them just wind up on the floor, probably, a piece of paper on the floor. To have songs that started with all the rest of those, and then have them performed by Beth level and like an 8-piece orchestra made up of the best players on Broadway, is one sort of a fantasy, but it's remarkable how suddenly the songs seem important, like and real, in a way that they don't when you're presenting them at school and you haven't really figured them out yet and don't know what they are.
Right, exactly.
So that in itself, I mean, there really wasn't a moment of the process that wasn't just remarkable. Okay, Danny, I'm so sorry. What were you saying?
No, I mean, you said it better than I could. I mean, it was just you're writing these songs and you're like, is it working? Is it not working? Why isn't it working? And then you get these performers who are just not only kind and generous, but so smart and so funny, and are just making them better. I mean, that's what you want as a writer. You're trying to do your best to get it on the page to work. But then when you get someone like Beth or Jeff to sing it, and then you back them with like Broadway's best, like instrumentalists, you're just like, okay, great. This is working. This is wonderful. Can we do this every day?
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
And the other thing is when you have performers like Beth and Jeff, who are just smart, and but you know that they're respectful of you as the writer when they say, "Have you thought about this?" Or "What if?" Which I have to say, they rarely said. But when they said, when they had a comment, I left and rewrote, because they were right. And so even in the process of making the album, we had an opportunity to make it better. And that's cool. We haven't said this is a concept album, and a concept album means it is not a cast recording. There hasn't been a performance, and there hasn't been rehearsal either, right?
And some of these songs, a lot of these songs have been baked, right? Like a lot of them we wrote in school. A lot of them were performed at Barrington Stage or at 54 Below, but some of them are brand new. Right. And Beth and Jeff are the only ones who have performed them. And to be able to try out new material on some of the greatest performers ever is it shows you not only what's working, which is great, but it really shows you what's not working. Right. But that allows you to fix it. And they're right. generous enough to help us through that, and they obviously want it to be great as well.
So how did you come up with the title?
Well, we had a title that we didn't like, and then our good friend and mentor William Finn said, "Call it Regretting Almost Everything." And we were like, well, it's not about that, but okay, that's fine. And it just stuck because it's such a good title.
So, and tell us, I mentioned in the introduction a little bit about what it's about, but maybe you can elaborate what people can expect from it.
Well, now I'm saying, and this is true, now I'd say it's about love, sex, and children. Okay. And
in that order, or
is it equally divided?
Yeah.
Well, that's not the order it happens in the show. First there's love, then there's children, then it gets to be a lot about sex, and then we break from that for a minute to talk about children and grandchildren. Then we get back to the sex part, and then we wind up with love again.
Full circle. Yes, full circle.
Yeah. And maybe at some level, most things are about love, sex, and or children. But really, I think this is different because I'm not going to say it that way. There are very few people writing with my perspective who have 3 grown children and now have 3 grandchildren, and have been married for 30 some odd years, and who has a decent sense of humor and can bring some humor to all of that,
especially the some odd years.
Yeah, some odd years. So my point of view is just different, and the thing, I could go through each song, but there's a song that was inspired by me holding my granddaughter the first time, and what it was like to watch her sleep, and you kind of have to have lived it, and not only lived it, but thought it was a profoundly important enough to write about.
And relatable, that people who are going to be consuming it can plug in their own lives, bits of their own lives into this story and have that relatability, right?
Right. So a lot of the moments that are in song in this show are things like falling in love and getting married, being amazed that when you have little kids, that you made those things and you didn't even have to do anything. You just you had sex and now look, what you've got. Those kinds of things. And I think because they're common, you know, we get that confused with thinking they're ordinary and therefore maybe not worthy of
Right.
writing about, but they're actually some of the most like extraordinary, right, and profound things we experience as humans. And I don't know, maybe it takes a mom and grandma or just a mom, as I was at the time, to say, oh my God, like, look at this. What is this? This is the most incredible thing. And I know it's not leaving the farm to go to the big city, but look at what I'm holding. you know. So anyway, so this show has sort of honors a lot of those common but extraordinary and profound moments in our lives.
And, you know, sprinkled with the comedic element that's
Right.
essential too, right?
Right. Yeah, because everything's funny.
Right.
Well, that's what makes, I think, Lauren such a unique and fabulous writer. And I think that's what drew me to working with her. I mean, I'm thankful that she writes with me.
That is a mutual thing. That is totally mutual.
Because I haven't lived a lot of these things in this show. And I think that's what makes our collaboration unique and what hopefully makes the show kind of universal. It's like, I don't like, the first single we put out was We Made Kids. I don't have kids. I have a dog with separation anxiety that drives me crazy, but I love her so much. So I try to, and we talk a lot before we write these songs about what we want the song to do. The lyric can have all this humor and all this, you know, the Lauren's lyric can have so much, and I'm just trying in the music to kind of channel the awe and the love and the tenderness of this moment. And then you kind of put that with Lauren's lyric about a bouquet of poop, and hopefully it's creating this moment that is very universal, and almost anyone who's had children or has loved something like a child, as I love my dog that gives me so much grief, can relate to.
But then, I mean, to sing Danny's praises for a minute, you know, there are, I've written with a decent number of people at this point, but I mean, first of all, he's an amazing sort of musical dramaturg. When he says this isn't working, I know he's right. I mean, he's always right. So if he says this is wrong, I'm like, God damn it, he's right.
He's right again.
But the thing is, I think both of us, it's like, I want the best music that he can give me. And if that means I have to change the words, I will change the words. He gets out of the way because he wants the best song too. But what that means for both of us is we put the storytelling first. You know, so his music always supports the lyric. And that just makes him a fabulous collaborator. And the other thing is, if by the end he gets it, then I know we have something that people will get, right? You know, because we do come from such different places that when we're on the same page, when we finally agree that something's working, then it's probably working pretty well, because it's not like we have the same life experience.
What was it like when this was presented to you, Danny, the opportunity to work on this, and what was that process like for you?
I mean, it was a lot of work, but I mean, one of my favorite things of doing theater, which I came to kind of as a writer later in life, is I just love collaboration so much. I love working with Lauren as a writer collaborator. I love working with musicians, kind of working, you know, like, I don't play every instrument. I've studied orchestration and I've worked with many musicians, and I love figuring out ways to because it's not just about making a great song like it would be like if it was like a pop record or something. It's about telling the story. So it's like, what's the best way? This is what I'm trying to get across. If this doesn't work for your instrument, how can we have a conversation to figure out a way to do that? And that was so exciting, like working with Paul, the MD, because it felt like we worked a lot on these songs when we first presented it in 2017. And then we rewrote a lot of stuff in 2018, and then we kind of set it aside. And we kind of wrote, countless other songs, a few other shows. So when we were reapproaching this, I almost had to be like, what is this? Like, how do I get my brain, how do I understand these characters again? How do I understand these songs again? But having that time apart actually really helped me kind of like break it apart and put it back together, because we conceived these songs for our classmates. We're kind of the band at Barrington Stage and at 54 Below. So I orchestrated it specifically for Benji, the piano player, Jacob, multi-instrumentalist, Emily, multi-instrument. So like it was very specifically tailored to that. So now that we got to break it apart and hopefully enrichen it and make it a bigger thing, I just discovered so much more, which is what you want, I think, when you're especially working in theater.
Yeah.
And when you hear that, Lauren, that's probably music to your ears, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's so gorgeous. It's so gorgeous. One of my favorite things was, I mean, so Danny did all of these arrangements and orchestrations and stuff, but we had never heard them. And originally we weren't even going to have a rehearsal. We were going to go right into the studio, and I was just like, that's just stupid. You gotta at least hear him. What if he hates him? He'll have no time to fix him. So we did. We had one day of rehearsal, and he was stressed out because it's like all of these, like we've been saying, like some of the best players out there, and no matter who you are or how good you are, what experience you have, it's still going to be stressful to be handing them your music, and because they really were just reading it down, I think, and at the end of the day, to hear all of them compliment Danny on how beautiful his writing was and how he should always write for string quartet, and how somebody thanked us for having a rehearsal. Do you remember? I mean,
yeah.
That was one of the points in the process where if it had all fallen apart after that, it would have still been worth it, because it was such an amazing day. It was just such an amazing day. And that was so gratifying after all of that work and all of that worry, to have that happen.
Why did you know it was exactly the way you wanted it to be? It's almost like writing a book. Is it harder to get started with the first few, words on the page? Is it harder to know how to cap it off and put the period on the last sentence and be comfortable and be able to walk away from it and say we're finished? I asked that question actually of a novelist once, and they came up with an answer which was really fascinating. They said, Jim, it wasn't the beginning that was hard for me. It wasn't knowing how to end it. Somehow I knew the beginning and I knew the ending I wanted. It was the middle, taking the beginning and the end and finding that perfect blending in the middle to bring those two together. What was that process like for you, Lauren?
Oh, I think we're probably not done. like after we had that album done and I listened to everything in order, I'm like, oh, that's the song that's missing. But we haven't written it yet. But so we had to go through, because again, it's not like we were coming out of a production and rehearsal period where we had an opportunity to figure it out earlier. We didn't figure it out, or I didn't, until after I heard the whole album. And I'm like, damn.
But wait, there's more.
Damn.
We have a little 40-second clip, actually. It's like a little preview trailer kind of thing. It's musical as well, and we'll play that. People get a little idea and see some of the behind the scenes of regretting almost everything. Danny and Lauren are here. I'm Jim Masters. This is the Jim Masters Show Live. Thanks for joining us, everybody. All these great comments coming in. Everybody's saying hello. It's good to see everybody around the world. Here is that clip, and we'll be back. I think I like that for my show open.
Sounds good.
Hey, are you on the drums on that too?
No, I'm not. Larry Lelly, a Broadway legend
Yeah.
drummer, is on, but he's great.
It's fantastic, huh? It sounds exciting, and just seeing the visuals behind the scenes and all, really something, huh?
It's interesting watching it here. I appreciate it more. I'm like, it does sound pretty good.
That sounds very
It does
good.
sound pretty damn good.
Absolutely right. It really, really does. What do you hope people are left with? What is the takeaway? What do you want them to get from all of it?
Oh, well, I mean, like I said, in some ways, what I want, we always want people to leave the theater feeling good, not beaten down. With this, which isn't to say that in other shows, probably more than this one, we don't want to, be somewhat provocative, have them thinking about something when they leave, and this one too, really, in a way. But for me, I don't know. This one is about two things. One, making a middle-aged woman who is also a mom a protagonist, somebody who still wants something and can be interesting and go on a quest, that's one thing. And then the other thing really is to sort of recognize and honor and validate these life moments that we have in a way that's, both serious and humorous. Because all those non-artists in the audience, it's like these are the most profound, like I said, moments in our lives. And one reason, we go to theater for a lot of reasons, but I think one reason is to see ourselves and have our experiences validated and going, yeah, that's it. That's true. That's right. That's how I feel. So anyway, those would be two things with this show, featuring a middle-aged woman who is still interesting enough and alive enough to actually want something and go and get it. And then to pay attention to these things that, because they're common, maybe don't get paid attention to.
Beautifully said. How about for you, Danny?
I think we always struggled, like when we were doing these like pitches or submissions, with like what's the takeaway? You're just kind of showing the lives of these people in these big moments, and we I don't remember who one of us ran across that quote. I forget who it's even attributed to, but it's like, don't cry because it's over, smile because it happened. And I think that's what we really tried to do with the show, is these two people meet, they fall in love, they build this life together, and then they continue living, and they're not upset because of whatever happened. They're part of their lives forever, and that's okay. and they still love each other. And I think that's what we've kind of tried to do as well.
Right.
That's fantastic. And you guys see each other working together on a lot more goodies along the way? Or is this that you're fed up with each other? You know, too many regrets?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or is this the start of something beautiful?
Definitely, it's not the start.
Hopefully just the beginning.
It's the some odd, like she said. I've been married some odd. 30 and some odd.
But in all those 30 some odd years, like in 30 some odd years, I've talked to Danny way more than I've ever talked to him.
Well, the confidant. That is funny. That is really amazing. So this is exciting. I mean, this really is, congratulations on all of this. I know a lot of people are, they've been commenting throughout and they're all excited about it. And we've got information here, folks. You can go right to that website, you know, and you don't want to regret not going. You want to go and make sure you avail yourself of all these opportunities that are here. It sounds like something that we need about now. You know, we've been through some crazy stuff the last couple of years, and we're still in the thick of some of it. You, Lauren, what have you learned about yourself, or about your craft, about going forward with your life, with what we've all experienced the last few years?
Through doing this album, I mean, it just reaffirms for me, I love doing stuff I don't know how to do. And I am always, and we have definitely messed things up along the way. And there are stuff we've messed up that we don't even know we've messed up yet. I have no doubt. But, you know, it just makes life richer and more interesting. And seriously, there's pretty much not a day that goes by that I don't talk to somebody that I never in a million years would have anticipated talking to, or learn something that I didn't want to learn. When we're talking about like social media and all this other stuff that we have to do now, all the marketing stuff.
Yeah.
But
did you ever think you'd be a Jim Master Show lovety? I mean,
no,
this is like most guests say that this is a pinnacle in their lives and in their careers when the audience calls you a lovety. Pretty cool, huh? Both of you are loveties. That's not bad. There's Grammys, Tonys, Peabodys, Emmys, Oscars. But when you get a lovety from the Jim Master Show, most guests say their feet start tingling. Are your feet tingling right now, gang?
Oh my God.
Totally.
That's what that is. Yes.
That's what that one guest said. They started levitating. There he goes. That's it. But it's really, it's beautiful, you know, that you guys are doing this together and sharing it with us. We need more of this. And Danny, how about you? What have you learned the last couple of years with this time of reflection and sort of looking at our lives going forward with some of the craziness that's gone on lately?
I mean, so many things. I guess to relate it to the show, it's the little things for me. It's the being able to just spend time with the person or the people you love, and the children or the dog that you love.
Yeah.
And that's relating it to the show. I mean, sometimes it doesn't need to be this big moment or this momentous event. It could be something as small as going to the park and leaning on the one you love and reading a book and just feeling the sun and sitting under a tree. And I think, you know, I spent a lot of time away from my family. My family's all in Southern California, and that was really hard. But I talked to them more than I have, you know, since I moved to New York. You know, we talked, you know, every other day, even if there was nothing to say. And that's okay. Just checking in, just saying hello. I love you. I'm glad you're still here. And I think I cherish that. You know, it was a really hard time, and it still is, but I think I grew a lot, and I think I learned a lot, and I'm happy that I had that time. to be with the one that I love, that I'm with, and to have those moments with my parents that I wouldn't have had even if I was still in California.
Exactly right. It never rains in Southern California, but lately it snows.
It snows. I don't know what's happening. It just snowed in New York, but it was snowing there first.
It's snowed there first, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
This was fantastic. Somebody that pops in towards the latter part of the show, just wanted to say a quick hello. Mr. George Burns is with us.
Hello.
There he is. My aunt collected dolls. I mentioned this on the show. She was a serious collector of thousands of dollars of really, collectible dolls. Had a whole room in her home in Connecticut filled with them. So this got passed down to me, and he was on one of our nostalgic episodes of the series. He always pops in with a cigar, his nice red hanky there, pocket square, always dapper. And he said he absolutely loved the conversation. He wishes you guys all the best. And he sends you love from himself and Gracie. Not too bad, huh? George
That's
Burns is a fan.
Oh my God.
Really looks like him too, doesn't it? I know. It puts a smile on everybody's face when that all of a sudden pops up. Like, is this guy actually holding a George Burns? That's it. You got to laugh, right? That's the one thing that we must do. Never lose the ability to love one another, be kind, empathetic, listen to great music, all of that, and laugh. It's so essential, right?
It's definitely underestimated what a good laugh can do.
That's it. Bring it in as much as possible. Maureen, watching in Arizona, says this was a fantastic conversation. Thanks for being here, Lauren and Danny. May you have continued success for years to come. One of our lovelies there in Arizona, and Sherry's in Kansas, USA. She says, thank you, Lauren and Danny, for being here with us and sharing your journey with us. Good luck in all you do in the future. Kathleen in New York City. Thanks for being here, Lauren and Danny, and sharing your lives with us. Good luck with all you both do. That's fantastic. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Cool stuff. Yeah, Kathleen, actually, she and I were on the Rachel Ray show. That was pretty cool.
Wow. Oh my God.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. You guys are the best. You're welcome back anytime to the Jim Masters Show live series. As you can see, it's conversational. It's not interviewee. It's really conversational. And wishing you great success with the album and the show and everything going forward. Again, gang, there is the information. Go to the website right there to get all that you need and celebrate life and everything that Lauren and Danny were talking about. And congratulations on it all. We'll keep the porch light on for you, and hope the show met whatever expectations you had. And you enjoyed the time with me as much as I have with the two of you.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
It was a real pleasure. Now you're going to go make a sandwich?
Gonna go maybe pee. I don't know.
That's it. You heard it here first. That was an exclusive. Thanks, guys. We'll talk to you soon, and spread the word about our show. We'd appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Cheers.
Thanks,
Take care. Bye-bye now.
Bye.
Danny and Lauren, take care. Isn't that fantastic? A lot of fun. And here again, we want to make sure you get that information. Regrettingalmosteverything.com. Information about the album and the musical. Obviously, you can tell it's a comedy. And you're going to connect with it, and it's going to resonate. Jane watching in Sweden. Thank you, Lauren and Danny, for being here tonight. Thanks, Jim. And you thought that they were interesting and creative and lovely guests. Absolutely. They sure were. And we will have them back, down the line individually or together, as they're always working on some cool things. It was a pleasure having them here. And if this is the first time you're hearing about their backgrounds and about this incredible musical and the album that's coming out, well, make sure you get it. There it is. And we really loved having them here on the show. And what was really cool is hearing about some of the behind the scenes. That's what's great about the way we do it here. We don't really call these interviews. We call them conversations, kind of like Cavett and Carson. You learn a little bit about the making of and the people behind. So when you get the album, see the musical, you're going to get a deeper feeling and sense of what it took to put it all together, all the hard work, all the toil, what they were aiming for, rewrites and all kinds of different things that it takes. Sometimes when we experience things in life, we forget about all that takes behind the scenes to, put that cheeseburger together that you're going to enjoy, or whatever it is. It takes a village. And of course, with Beth and Jeff are part of it as well. It's extraordinary. We thank Lauren and Danny for joining us here. Two buddies and great talents, and sharing it with us here on the Jim Master Show Live series. If you enjoyed it, certainly give this episode a like. There is a thumbs up icon on our YouTube channel. It looks like this. When you click that, that really helps us out, because the algorithm at YouTube goes wild and it loves it. So you see it looks something like this. Maybe not as sparkly and fancy as what we have here, but we always go the extra mile here at JMS. You click that, drop a comment in the comments section on our YouTube channel, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It doesn't cost anything. We would really appreciate that, and we appreciate your joining us here on the Jim Masters Show Live series. It really is quite special when you guys are here. We've got an amazing array of guests that are joining us throughout. Susan Spies is going to be here. She's an extraordinary humor enthusiast, comedy coach, and comic. She is going to be with us tomorrow, and that's at a special time, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. And then legendary Hollywood casting director Joel Thurm's going to be here, and he has a new book, Confessions of a Casting Director. You can only imagine what that's about. Sex, drugs, and pilot season. His stories are incredible, and he's going to be sharing them with us here. And then we've got another extraordinary talent, renowned music producer Peter Bliss is joining us on Friday. Peter's music has been recorded by so many, and talk about variety, from Barbra Streisand to NSYNC and so many others. Peter's going to be with us right here as well on the Jim Masters Show Live series. Take a look at a couple more comments, and then we are good to go. Kathleen says, another great show. Thanks, Jim. The pleasure is all mine. And Sherry says, thank you, Jim, for another fantastic show. Thank you for all you do for the Lovedies. The pleasure is all mine as well. We love you all. Again, reminding you, we don't say goodbye around here. We say Mori Loop, which in African means walk well. Slancha, sayonara, shalom, avida zain. Take care, be well, sayonara, shalom, cheerio. And don't forget to relax. Don't forget to take care of one another, laugh a little bit, and enjoy life, and relax. Take time for yourself. Love one another as well. We love you, and we thank you for your time on this episode of the Jim Master Show Live. Spread the word. Tell everybody you know about our unique series. It's quite special what we're doing here. And with all of you here, it makes it extra special. So thanks for joining us. Jim Masters here. Thank you for your time this time. Till next time, see you on the next episode. Don't forget, you can binge watch hundreds of episodes right here on our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV, just for you. Enjoy doing that. See you on the next one. Thanks for joining us. Cheers.